Good morning. How are you? Okay. Today, no one is on live. 6351 Okay. Okay, fine. So today also we'll discuss about a couple of functions in physical file. Okay. So as usual, type work member PDM as a command from the command line. Work with list of source members using PDM tool. Okay. And always remember and make it as a practice. In this work member PDM environment, if you see the type and text is an editable mode, it means we can type, sorry, we can type something here, so it will get changed. Okay, so unfortunately or by mistakenly something was happened on this type. Then if you're trying to compile this physical file, we know this is a EMP is a physical file, but if you want to compile this now, let's see, the compile option is not allowed with the member type FGSDFG. Okay, so that is not an system allowed source member type. So that is why we can't able to create a member. Okay, we can't able to create an object for this source member. So what we have to do, um, there might be a cases like we might do some mistakes. So to avoid those kind of mistakes, we need to make this fields as non-editable fields. How to do that? Okay, see, from this work member PDM, we have an option called shift plus F6. If you type shift plus F6, shift F6 means F18. Okay, change session defaults. Here you need to change this flag to N. Change type and text. By default this value is Y, and turn this value to N and press an enter key. Now you see this type and text is not an editable mode. Okay, so I think one person is in online. Okay, so now this source type is not in a editable mode. This is a best practice because something would happen to this text or source member type. It is difficult to understand what is a source member belongs to. What type of source code that you have written in the source member, we are not aware. Okay, so now what we will do is we will add some couple of functions to this source member. Yesterday we have created another source member called EMP1. EMP1, no. In EMP itself we have modified the source code. Okay, so this is our modified source code. Earlier we have only one field in a physical file member, and yesterday we have added three more fields to it: employee name, address, and gender. Okay, as I said earlier, what is the total record length of your file means you need to add all your fields lengths together, which will give you the file record length. Okay, in this case the total record length is 20 plus 30, 50, and 6, 56, and this one character 57. So the total record length of your file is 57. Okay, so remember this point, and we have some things to do with that record length that is important. Okay, so now till now we haven't used any functions in this functions area, and now let's try to add couple of functions to this. We'll start with field level. See, below this record format level and before a key field level, whatever we mentioned here, these all belongs to a field level only. Okay, press F4. In the field level, see, let's say I think I've shared some couple of functions. In the field level we have a compare range values. Okay, we will discuss about those functions. Compare range values. Okay, range means we have a lower limit and we have an predefined upper limit as well. Like in between this range I want to have this values to this particular field. See, generally if you go to an hotel, then there might be a 10 numbers, 10 rooms are available, but they start with 101, 102, and 201, 202, and 301, 303, like this. Even though we have a provision to start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, they will start in this sequence because they want to have the room number starts with 3-digit value, which is from 100. Okay, in the same way, in an organization, there might be a cases they might ask you to start that employee number range from 100, but usually that is not the case. We will put that value for a salary field. That is better. The range function is suitable for salary field. I will add one more function, one more field here, e sal, as an employee salary, and it is a 6-digit, and I don't want to have any spices because nowadays no one will accept any 10,000 rupees 50 paisa means no one will accept. So that's why there is no need to specify the prices here as of now at least. And I will mention a range function here, range. Okay, we'll better reduce this numbers value, just trying to understand easily. I just mentioned that salary value as 3 digits. It means the least 3-digit value starts from 100 and the maximum 3-digit value is 999. Okay, so in between that, whatever the value that I want to mention here, I can specify it here. Okay, and let's say I will mention my salary value. Minimum salary value is 300 and the maximum salary value I want to have is 600. So in my organization, all the employees minimum salary starts from 300. Okay, and the maximum highest salary is 600. Okay, so the salary field should not exceed 600, should not be less than 300. So that is my condition criteria. Even though the 3-digit value starts from 100 to 999, I just mentioned this condition. So that is the usage of an range function. And let's see, we just modified the source code of an EMP object. Okay, earlier EMP object doesn't have this EMP salary field. Now we have newly added this esal to EMP source member. As usual, to compile the source member, we need to take option 14 from the work member PDM screen. Okay, so 14 and press enter key, and again it was showing a message saying that already you have an object EMP which is created in iDream 1 library with the star file type of object. So that object is based on the source location. So do you want to delete that existing object and create a new one with the new structure? Yes, so that is what I need. So that's why I will mention this value as y. Intentionally I want to delete this existing object and create a new object. My new object was created. On the bottom of the screen you will see the EMP in this library type star file was deleted. But if you see on the bottom right corner of the screen, there is a plus symbol. It means this is not the only one message on this line. There are some few more statements which are in a hidden mode. Okay, so if you want to see those hidden mode values, then you need to press page down key by placing the cursor anywhere on this last line. Okay, you can't place the cursor here and press a page down. Okay, you need to press page down by placing the cursor anywhere on the bottom line and press page down, and now you can see the EMP file was created in iDream 1 library, and still you can see the plus symbol is displayed here. It means there are few more statements again in the hidden mode. So again press page down. Now the plus symbol is gone. It means this is the last statement for that action. The action which we have given is option 14 to compile that object. So when we compile that object, the existing object, then we have 3 statements displayed on the bottom of the screen. By default it will display the topmost statement, and if you want to see the hidden statements, placing the cursor on bottom of the screen on the last line and press page down so that you can view the next set of statements, hidden statements. So now you can see the EMP member is added to the EMP file which is there in iDream 1. Just remember the statement, and we will discuss about this members concept. Member EMP added to EMP object. Okay, see, in a simple statement, for every object there should be a container kind of thing, like a member. There will be a default member. So that member is nothing but a container which will contain the list of records. Okay, so that for an object will have a data member. To create an object we will have a source member. Okay, these are all the source members which is used to create an object. Once we create an object, system will create a data member for that object, data member which will contain the data. this source member will contain only the source code, and the data member will contain the data of that physical file object. That's the main difference between the source member and the data member. Okay, we'll discuss that concept bit later. That is just an highlight points. Now if you do a run query, run query is a command to view the object output. Okay, so now do a run query on emp file, and now you can see there is one more field was added, which is esal. As expected, this field was added. Okay, that is fine. Now if you want to insert some records, as usual, use a upd dta command from the command line and type emp as an object name and press an enter key, and here you see the new field is also added. Since there is no data exist in this physical file, the by default mode will be your entry mode. Okay, now try to enter some records here. 10 Ravi, Hyderabad, gender male, and I will try to give the value as 100. Let's see what will happen. I just mentioned this salary value is 100, but my condition value which I have given is the range should be 300 to 600. And if I press an enter key, say this this field was highlighted with a green color. It means that is not an expected value, which is something wrong. Okay, and give the values 299 and hit an enter key. Still it is in green color. Now type the value as 100 and hit an enter key. Now the values are accepted. It means as per the condition, it will allow the value starting from 300 and greater than or equal to 300, less than or equal to 600. That is a condition. Okay, so now employee number 20, Varma, VSKP, male, salary, if I mention this salary value as 601, let's try with this value, and it is highlighted, which is not accepted value. So 601 is not an accepted value. So type 600 and hit an enter key. Now this value is accepted. Okay. So that is the difference between a lower limit and upper limit for range function. How many records that we have inserted? Anyone is listening to me? Do you hear me? How many records we have inserted till now? I will try to open the screen. Viewers are 1, but we don't have any. Okay, fine. See, till now we have entered only 2 records. So if you press an F3, it will show you the value as you have added 2 records and there is no change records and no deleted records. Okay, so if you are done with your entering the data, then leave this value as y as it is. It should be s, and hit an enter key. Now do a run query to view the output of your physical file object. And now you can see the two records which I have entered is listed here. Employee number 1020 and salary 300 and 600. Okay, so in between these two values, whatever the value that you want to enter, you can mention without any issue. That is accepted. Okay, I hope you understand this range function, how it will works. Okay, so again, this time we will discuss about a function called text. Again, I'm modifying the structure. See, this is like an house. I just created an house earlier, and I have done some modifications to the existing house, which is nothing but adding a new field. We can consider this adding a new field is like an extra room we have added, extra room, or else extra shelves, some part of modification in your house. Okay, so every time you what we call every time you do modification to your house, you need to reconstruct, or else it's kind of you need to reconstruct that house again. Okay, if you do any changes to this file structure, each and every time you need to compile this file to get these changes affected to your object. If you want to maintain this object, if you want to maintain the previous object as it is, then only this problem will happen. Okay, we'll discuss those concepts a bit later. Now we'll try to add one more function called text. Okay, so see, in generally I know this ENO stands for employee number. Okay, but as a third person, you might not be knowing this field description. So what does this ENO stands for? Like an ENO, like a digestion. If we have any digestion problem, then usually we have this ENO tablets or ENO powder to get the stuff digested. Okay, so ENO means it's an employee number. It's not an medical related ENO. Okay, so to make this user friendly, or else it should be a universal. See, like if a third person wants to see this field structure, he should be able to understand what you have created, because down the line we might be there in this company or not, but the system has to run as it is. Okay, to make sure the system should work fine even if we are there or not, we need to define the structure in such a way that everyone should able to understand and continue their work without any dependency. So that is why we need to mention this description of this field. Okay, so EMP means employee number. So always to mention a string that should be enclosed in a single quotations. So that is a standard rule. Okay, so text is a function So within that function, if you mention the description like this, it means you are giving some description for this ENO field. Okay. In my point of view, ENO means employee number. So anyone, if third person try to view this source code, he will able to understand this is an employee number. And ename, and again ename for stands for employee name. Okay. See, did you see that I haven't taken option called F4 prompt? Because after writing the source code, I know where to start this field, and where to mention this length, and where to mention this data type and decimal positions, and where to start this functions. So that's why I just directly writing the source code without taking the prompt. Okay. If you don't know the source layout, then only you need to press an F4 function key by placing the cursor in that particular field. Now let's say I don't know the source layout. I was a bit little confused. Then place a cursor on any one of the field where you want to modify or add something. In this case, I want to modify some source code. I want to add this text function to EADD address field. So placing the cursor over there and press F4. Okay. I think the connection got disconnected, or else we are a bit late. I think the session got disconnected. If you see, I pressed an F4 function key, but the system didn't show me the prompt because there was an idle time set to the system. So the idle time is over. So it was in a wait state. Wait of 1. Already 2 actions are in pending state. Okay, always we need to perform some action to make this system active. Either enter key, not moving the cursor from here to there, some enter key or refresh, or something else. Okay, so we don't have any other choice. We need to disconnect this session and reconnect it again. Okay, I logged in back. Work member PDM from your command line and try to take option 2 to edit your source member EMP. See, now system was giving you some more options here. The previously editable session of this member above ended abnormally. So without properly coming out from that source member, something was happened, interrupted, and the changes that we have done, it is not yet committed. So do you want to continue from the previously modified changes, or else you want to discard those changes? So I want to have this changes back. So I will leave this value 1 as it is. If you don't want to have this changes, then you need to take option 2. I need option 1, enter. Oh my god. Still I don't see this functions which I have newly added here, because as and when I write the source code, I haven't used this command called save. Okay, save is like a save point. Okay, so the last save point of this source code is without adding this functions. Okay, so after adding the functions, and if we do a save, then even though the session got interrupted, once we logged in back using that option recovery mode, we could see these two functions listed here. Since we haven't done the save option, I don't have any previous save point here, so that's why it rolled back to the original save point, which is a default one. Okay, so now again we need to add this functions here, text. As I mentioned earlier, I know the positions of this functions where we need to add these functions. See, the f starts from here and it will go up to here. Okay, so till this point we can add the functions, and if you see this field names or record format name, it will start from name, which is starting from here, and it will go up to here. Okay, before R. So the total space belongs to the name field, or else record format name, key field name, or a field name we can specify in this limit. This is for a data type, and DP stands for decimal positions. Okay, B stands for both mode or output mode, the type of mode, and length. Length starts from here to here. Okay, and remember again, we are just moving the cursor and placing the cursor here and there without pressing an enter key, and again system will go to an idle mode, will consider that is an idle mode, and it will get disconnected automatically. So better I will press an enter key to make sure I'm still there, I'm not sleeping. So during the class, so I'm listening to this class, so don't consider that I'm idle. So that's what it means. Employee number within single quotations, press an enter key. Now again, text, employee name, and enter key. Okay, so now if I don't know the layout of this function, I want to go with the prompt mode, then place the cursor here, place the cursor anywhere on the screen and press F4 and go to functions and type your function called text employee address, right? Address. Okay, so now this is gender, employee gender. Okay, but if you see already there is a line occupied with function position occupied with range. Okay, as and when you press an enter key, that line will be added to the positions where it's supposed to be. Okay, since we don't know the positions where we need to write these values exactly, so that's why we are taking this prompt. Once if you are aware of the positions of this physical file structure, then you can directly add the value just typing the values on the screen. You don't need to press an F4. F4 will always give you a prompt to see the supporting values, and if you don't know what all the values are available and what you want to specify here, you can press F1. As I said, the different types of name types are available, and if you don't know the list of functions which are available, Then place the cursor anywhere on the functions and press F1, and it will give you the list of functions which are available in the physical file creation. Okay, so these are all the list of functions available. Okay, so currently we are discussing about text function. So text provides a description of the record or field. Okay, because during the physical file DDS explanation, I mentioned this text function is available in record format level and field level. Okay. So now going back to the screen, I mentioned this text function in field level. Okay. You can mention this record format level also. Now, what I want to do is, already there is a function which is occupied with range. Now what we have to do is insert one more line. See, I mentioned an I as an alphabet in the serial sequence number line. Okay, I just mentioned the value as I and hit an enter key. It will allow you to insert one more line. See, this position indicates it's a dummy position. It doesn't have any importance at this point of time. You can leave this field blank, or else you can type this value A or whatever you want. We got this A as a default value because we have taken a prompt IPPF, and by taking an IPPF we have designed the structure. So that's why system will assign a value A in this position as a default value. As of now, at this point of time, this value doesn't have any importance. You can leave this field value as blank or not, that is up to you. I just leave the field as blank. So now my intention is I want to add a text function, so which is nothing but like this. Insert one line just below to this field. Employee salary and hit an enter key. Okay. So it means for an employee salary field, we have two functions. One is range function, another one is text function. Okay. Always remember, this text will give you the meaning of this field. The meaning of this field in DDS level. So this is a physical file DDS. By looking at this DDS, we need to understand what this field stands for. So for doing that, we need to use a text function. So this is a description of this fields. Okay. So once you're done with your DDS changes, go back to your system command line. See, you don't need to place a cursor here. If you want to move your cursor to the starting point of your source enter utility command line, it can happen by pressing a home key on your keyboard, or else F10 from your keyboard. On your keyboard you will have a F10 function key, or else a home key. Using those functions, you can place your cursor to the starting point of your source enter utility command line. Okay, now this time type file. File means it will save the DDS and it will come out from that screen. Save plus exit. If you give the value as save, it means it will just only save that value, save the DDS. It will not come out from that screen. Okay. So now you have modified your DDS of EMP file. So that's why you need to recompile that DDS again to get the latest changes affected, or otherwise you will have your previous object only. Okay. So compile this object which is already exist, delete that existing object and create a new one. Okay. UPDDTA EMP. Using the text function, you don't see any change in your data mode, or else output of this object doesn't give you any difference. Okay. Okay. So without entering the DDA data, I'm just running that file, querying that file again. Run query EMP. If you see, there is no difference in this layout. Okay. I don't have any data because as and when you recompile your object, the existing data will be gone. It will create a new object again without having a data. So creating an object means it will create an object without having any data. So that is what a new object means. Okay. And one more difference. Okay. For an employee number, I want to add one more function to it, which is nothing but a column heading. So to add that field, to add that function to an employee number, I don't have sufficient provision to mention the column heading here because the function which is almost occupied with text. Okay, so I will take a new line by placing the value as I in the sequence number and hit an enter key. You can leave this field as blank, that A, and go to this position and type column heading. Column heading means COLHDG. Okay, I will mention this value as number. Okay, don't get confused. I mentioned this column field name as ENO. So to understand easily, I mentioned this ENO stands for employee number. Okay, but when I run this file, do a query on this file, even in that output also I'm getting this field name as ENO. Okay, see, to get a better understanding, I've given this description as employee number for a clarity. Okay, but even in output mode, when I run this query of this file, if I get this field name as ENO as a column heading, then how do I understand that ENO stands for an employee number at runtime? Okay, even at runtime also, if you want to have some better understanding, okay, you can rename that column heading to some meaningful column heading by mentioning like this. Okay, so now save your file DDS and compile your object taking option 14. Delete that existing object and create a new one with my latest source code. Then F9, F9, F9. run query on that object. Okay, so now if you see, instead of an field name is getting displayed here, I'm getting the value as number. Okay, now I can able to understand whatever the value is displayed under this field, it belongs to an number field. I mean, it belongs to some number value. Then again, what type of value it is, what type of number value it is, I don't know, right? Okay, in that case I need to mention that value as an employee number. Employee number. Okay, okay, so now if you see, I have given this field name as ENO. To get some better understanding of this field, I have given this description as employee number in the text function. Okay, by doing this, I can able to understand only in the DDS level. When I was creating, by looking at this DDS, I can able to understand this ENO stands for an employee number. But when I run this query on this file, I'm able to see that field name as ENO while I was using this text function. At runtime, I don't see the column heading as some meaningful name. To do that, I've used a column heading with some meaningful description. So whatever the description you mentioned here in the column heading function, that will be considered as your column heading at runtime. Okay, now let's try this. Again, do a file, compile it again, delete existing object, and run query. Okay, now you can see the column heading turned from employee ENO to number and number to employee number. Now this time, whatever the column heading description you mentioned over there, that will be displayed here as your column heading. Now you can able to understand these values stands for employee number. Okay, come out from that screen and go back to your source code, modify your source code again. Now if you see, for a particular field, we have mentioned two functions here to have some better understanding of this field. Okay, now why should I use two functions to have some clarity on this field? Okay, now tell me which function is better. I need to use a column heading or else a text, or do I need to use both the functions to have some meaningful description of this field? If you want to answer, then type some comments. You can type your value in your even on the YouTube we have a provision to mention some comments on the bottom of your screen. Just try to give some answers, so that's why you can able to interact with me, or you can share your answers or queries, whatever. May you know who is uh, viewing this class now, attending this class now? Can you please mention your name? Okay, leave it. See, in this scenario, we no need to have these two functions, text and column heading. Column heading is enough. By looking at this column heading function, we can get this meaningful description of this particular field, and during runtime of this file also, we can have this description as a column heading at runtime. So at this point of time, this is not needed. Okay, even in live sessions, in your live system, mostly you will see a column heading function is being used, because it will satisfy both the purpose. By looking at the DDS, you can able to understand this ENO stands for an employee number, and during the runtime of your file, you can understand this ENO stands for employee number. Since you change the DDS of your EMP physical file layout, you need to compile this file and you need to run this file again to see the output if it has got changed anything. So there is no change employee number. You can able to understand this ENO stands for an employee number, and during your source level also you can able to understand this ENO stands for employee number. So that is the usage of an text, column heading and range functions. Okay, if possible, just try to add some functions which I have mentioned in this DDS level, and do some homework on it. Let me know if you have any issues while creating your physical file DDS by using that functions. Okay, see you tomorrow. Have a nice day, and so if possible, just try to come in online, all of you people, so that you can able to have some live interaction. Okay, so that's all for today. Have a nice day. Bye.